And once again, welcome back to the NFL the night before. Happy to have you with us. Don't forget to log on right now. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on in the NFL 24/7, 365. Knightsports.com. That's Knightsports with a K.com. Let's take a look now at some of the highlights and lowlights from week one. Some games we'll feature. First of all, we've got to go out to San Fran. That's where I was, as they tell you what, the Niners and the St. Louis Rams were going at it out on the left coast. Leo Haggerty joins us now. And Leo, I was surprised at the outcome of that one, but I know you weren't surprised.
Tony, I was amazed at how well the San Francisco defense played. And for you folks out there, keep in mind, they are doing a superb job of putting speed in on defense. The St. Louis Rams, they knew one thing the 49ers did. They knew that St. Louis does not play well. It's the greatest show on turf indoors. San Francisco got them outside. That was one of my locks, wasn't it, Tony?
No doubt about it. Leo's locks coming to you right here each and every week. And Leo, 28-25. I'm telling you what, it was an exciting ball game. Niners coming out on top. New head coach had to make him feel good, getting the first notch in his belt in week one.
Absolutely, Tony. And you know what, folks out there? The big thing is the San Francisco 49ers, people are talking about them getting 1, 2, maybe 3 wins. This was not one of the wins they were thought to get, even though they were playing at home. Maybe the 49ers are a little bit of our surprise team. I know it's week one. It's a marathon, Tony. It's not a sprint. Let's see what happens.
Was Mike Martz surprised by what Coach Nolan and his staff had waiting for him out in San Francisco?
Tony, I think you bring up a great point. I think the surprise was their speed on defense and San Francisco rushing the quarterback. Bolger had very little time to do things. Sure, he's going to throw it 40, 50, 60 times. That's Rams football. But a lot of times he was under duress.
Talk about Tim Rattay coming out, not looking too bad in week one, although he faltered at times.
Yeah, Tim Rattay, again, they waited until the last preseason game to make the choice between Smith and Rattay. I think they made the right choice simply because they've got a guy with NFL experience. Don't be surprised, though, Tony Cornish, if they don't go to Smith sometime during this season.
Tim Rattay, of course, 11 of 16 passing for 165 yards. Consistent football. Coach Nolan will take the W anytime he can get it, especially on his home field. All right, let's move on and talk about our second matchup that we really want to focus in. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road at the Metrodome, taking on Dante Culpepper and the Vikings without Randy Moss. Surprise, the Cadillac rolled in Minneapolis, Leo.
Absolutely. I was more surprised, Tony Cornish, with the running game of the Buccaneers. Everybody talked how bad that offensive line was. Well, I'll tell you what, Tony, Kenyatta Walker, John Wade, not a bad nucleus to work around. And what everybody's forgetting, and what you folks out there are forgetting too, they're healthy. That's a key. 5 offensive linemen. It's the toughest position to coach because if one goes down, they all look bad.
Coach Muir doing a good job in Tampa Bay, according to the results of week one. Question for all you fans in Minneapolis, the Mike Tice watch. Leo, is it on?
I don't think it's on yet, Tony. Again, Minnesota, everybody expected their defense to be great. But the problem is, Tony, you know and I know, we played this game on the college level. We haven't been there on Sunday, but we played on the college level. You don't bring in 8 new guys and expect them to gel right away. I think Minnesota has 2 things going for them. 1, Dante Culpepper, and 2, they're in the right division. I don't think that division, 8-8 may win it.
Do the Vikings miss Randy Moss?
Oh, do the Vikings miss Randy Moss? Did Fred Astaire miss Ginger Rogers? That's for our over 50 crowd. Yeah, they miss him because Dante Culpepper, when in doubt, he would just throw it up and let Moss make a play.
Now, another game we really want to focus on, of course, involves the New Orleans Saints. All of America is really feeling for this team, this organization, because of what happened to the city of New Orleans due to Hurricane Katrina. And I tell you what, this team has had to find a way somehow to focus on football. It's been so rough. Some of the players, of course, have had damaged homes to deal with, family members who are displaced. It's been a tough time for Jim Haslett and his staff. Even the organization didn't have computers up until very recently to prepare for upcoming games.
New Orleans went on the road to Carolina, and I'll tell you what, this is the good news story of the NFL. Yeah, Carolina doesn't want to talk about it because they were trying to win the football game, but the rest of the people following football, this is definitely the feel-good story. The New Orleans Saints coming out 1-0.
23-20, the Saints getting that big win. Aaron Brooks, 18 of 24, 192 yards passing. Are you an Aaron Brooks fan?
I'm an Aaron Brooks fan. I remember Aaron Brooks from when I watched him in the Shrine Bowl. And I'll tell you what I like about Aaron Brooks is he has a quick release, but I'll tell you what, the big thing was John Carney. Field goal at the end to win it.
Deuce McAllister over 100 yards rushing, 138 to be precise, 2 touchdowns. The Deuce got loose.
The Deuce got loose, and I'll tell you what, maybe New Orleans is finally figuring it out. You know, Coach Haslett has been getting many questions as to what he's doing down there, but I'll tell you what, Deuce McAllister covers up a whole lot of sins, doesn't he, Tony?
All right, Leo, let's move on to week 2. One of the premier games we want to focus on, yes, involves the Saints again as they travel up to Gotham. Well, really, East Rutherford, New Jersey.
That's a home game, Tony.
It's a home game for the Giants,
come on.
right? But the NFL says it's a home game for the Saints. Of course, they want to raise money for Hurricane Katrina victims. Good move, bad move? I say no good. Saints are at a clear disadvantage.
And you know what, Tony Cornish? I am right behind you on that. Paul Tagliabue, shame on you. Double shame on you. No way should you have put New Orleans at that kind of disadvantage, a home game in New York. I'll tell you what, I'll bet you there's some Eagles, Cowboys, and Redskins fans that aren't really happy about it either, Tony.
9 home games, not bad.
Not bad. I'll tell you what, hey, maybe they're like a college team. Hey.
Okay, the Giants, of course, will take that, and Tom Coughlin will be smiling all the way to the bank. But that's a game to watch in week 2 coming up. Also, another game we want to focus on, Green Bay. What's going on with Brett Favre and company up in the land of cheese? Of course, they will take on the Cleveland Browns. Romeo Crennel and his crew venturing to historic Lambeau Field.
And you know what, Tony? I'm going to remind you that I picked Detroit to win that division, so I wasn't surprised with Detroit winning. But I'm going to give the Packers a pass week 1. Brett Favre's home basically destroyed down in Kill, Mississippi.
Yes.
His mind wasn't on football. So I'm going to give him a pass, but expect the Packers to bounce back. Romeo Crennel, not this week, not your win.
All right, Leo.